Namaste. Many thanks for joining us for this wonderful session with Mr. Raghavendra. Mr. Raghavendra is a highly specialized yoga therapist it's wonderful to have him as part of the CAPE family. I'm Dr. Ramya Mohan, creator of CAPE. Welcome. We'll start off with a brief introduction. Mr. Raghavendra is the director of Swadhyaya Yoga Institute in Bangalore, having received yoga certification on completion of 900 hours TTC from the Yoga Institute, Mumbai. He has completed yoga instructor courses from Vyasa Yoga University, Bangalore, Pilates on Met Level 1 from the Zoom, Conduct Certified Teacher Training Program, and online yoga teaching across the globe. He has experience of having completed over 200 hours in Ashtanga Yoga. His main teachings are around why yoga? What is yoga? So yoga is discipline, a way of life, the science of well-being, youthfulness, and smiling, he says, which helps us to improve our energy levels and have a calm self through a very holistic approach, which you'll get to hear about a bit more today. Our main objective really for this series and this particular session is to inspire and motivate oneself and others to practice and feel the authentic richness and traditional essence of yogasanas, pranayama, which is breathing, and meditation, which helps us to stay in the present moment and particularly relevant in today's busy life. Mr. Raghavendra says, with regular yoga practice, a person can see an overall transformation within themselves, certainly something that has worked for me in the past when I've trained with him. Welcome, Mr. Raghavendra. It's wonderful to have you here today. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramya. It's a wonderful privilege to be a part of CAPE and having the conversation with you and sharing my knowledge and the expertise what I've been gaining through all these years with the help of our gurus and the teachers. Whatever Dr. Ramya mentioned about the yoga or this thing, about the traditions what we follow or the linings, whatever she expressed, the letter words what I have written, it's all taught by our gurus. Nothing new we have invented here. What we have learned here that I've been trying to use this yoga, traditional yoga techniques, what I call, or why I follow this, why I'm stressing again and again this traditional yoga sense. India has been a land of these traditions, of a rich tradition, which started in Nalanda University. It was headed by yoga and philosophy by great philosophers. If you take Tibet, if you take Himalayas, all the yogis come from there. In today's scenario, we should see that the yoga has been very widely popularized and reached to each and every house. Starting from a small child to an elderly person, you can see that everyone is practicing. That's a good um, thing we can notice in today's generation. It's a good sign. Everyone is very cautious about taking care of their health. Especially during this pandemic situation, people have become much more aware of their health. Everyone knows a lot of techniques and the tools and what postures they have to do, how they have to implement. Everyone has learned. So in this thing, the topic what Dr. Ramya has brought out here, like being a child specialized in psychiatrist and child welfare and other things which she specializes. Particularly, she found that when most of the time I used to work in my earlier days with the children, she noticed like in one of our conversations, like I'm good in addressing the incidents which is related to the children. So she just approached me, why don't you just talk about this? It's not only with the children. When I start implementing these things to myself, in my family, and in my neighbors, with my students, everywhere, I could see a phenomenal change. When addressing a children or an elderly person, it makes it really challengeable, especially a teenager. In the scenario, it's very, very challenging if you see, because they have their own set of mindset. They are intellectually, they are very well knowledgeable. In today's scenario, if you see, they are much more ahead than a generations. If you see, compared to any part of the world, any child, if you take any person, if you take, they are having everything at their fingertips, all the informations at their fingertips. But the knowledge, when it comes to the seeking informations, people have plenty of knowledge with them. But where they are lacking is, what I have observed, is implementation. They are not implementing. So this is a sage Patanjali. So idol, the picture, what we all worship. From the ages, it has been worshipped. It has its own tradition when it comes to the Vedas, when it comes to the manuscripts and other things, which are the things, traditions you speak about. When it comes to yoga, people start with following the Patanjali, Maharishi Patanjali, who has given the Ashtanga Yoga method. Ashtanga Yoga means it's an 8-step method, which we have to climb and reach to the eternal path. So he has given 196 aphorisms in that. What this aphorism says, first one, it talk about Atha Yoganushasana. Atha means now we begin the discipline of yoga. How he has given in the first step. So for that, I would like to recite a chant with beginning of all the yoga practice across the world. Wherever you see people practicing, it could be an Hatha yoga, it could be an Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga, or any form of traditional yoga. People try first, what they do is to offer the salutations to the Patanjali. Well, now I'm going to recite the couple of lines given by Sage Patanjali. Then I'm going to explain what is the meaning of that and why, what is the importance of this chant. So I'm going to begin this. First, we need to sit with the palms joining against each other, thumb touching to the sternum of your chest. Keep your facial muscles relaxed. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacha Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopakarotam Pravaram Munina Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmin Abaho Purushakaram Shankachakra Siddharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim. Om. Thank you. So the meaning of this recitation, for whom this recitation, whom we have to chant, why we have to chant, what is the purpose of this chant? Is this restricted to any particular religion? Is this particular to any tradition, only for yoga, where others can chant, others cannot chant? What is the meaning? First is that Patanjali is in the sage, is in the form of half human and half in the serpent. It has a story about behind that. The yoga has been given by Ishvara, the scripts, if you get back to the way long ancient scripts. So let me just give the importance, meaning of this prayer first. Yogena Chittasya. When we start doing yoga, where it starts working, Chitta. Chitta is the mind. Chittasya. First, it will gonna bring work on your mind. Keep your mind calm. Keep your mind relaxed. If your mind is calm, if your mind is relaxed, if it is focused, then only you will be able to listen to the person who is in front of you. Or you can focus, you can see, or you can listen, you can understand what the other person is trying to convey. If the mind is not in its place, you cannot do either of these things. Next, Chittasya Padena Vacham. Pada means the words, what we express. It improvises the grammar. The way you speak, the way the tongue twists when you chant this Sanskrit mantras, any word, any syllable, if you take, there is a twisting happens with the tongue and the entire of your in the mouth, if you see. Malam Sharirasya. So how you are internally, how you are working with your internal organs, how you are cleansing. It is the food. So Sage Patanjali has given 3 things for us. One is yoga, to how to work on our mind. Next is the grammar through this, whatever the aphorisms, what is given, when you start chanting with that, when you start understanding about the mind, there your grammar starts improving. Then third is Ayurveda. He has given the Ayurveda, like what food. Though we have all kinds of food, people are aware that in particular season, what food, if you take, what changes it will going to make happen to your body. In certain aggravating situations, what food you have to avoid, what food will going to be helpful. So this knowledge is also given by Sage Patanjali, all these things. Yopa karotam pravaram muninam. So all this yoga postures has been done by our ancient sages from way past decades. It's yoga has a history of 5,000 plus years. Then Patanjalim pranjalirana tosmin. So we bow to him is lotus feet of the Patanjali. So for the Guru, from Patanjali, Guru started learning this in the forests, in the Himalayas, in the deep Tibetan traditions, like people started following. They follow different traditions. Everyone follows the same concepts, same methods. There is no shortcut to success or to the path of enlightenment. Abahu Purushakaram. Abahu means he is having a huge arms, which you can see the many serpents here. Purushakaram, so is in the form of a man, in form of a human. It's basically a man. Shanka Chakra Siddharanam. One hand he is having a conch, the Shanka, what we call. Chakra is the symbolizes the sun. Chakra Siddharanam is having and sitting stably. Then comes Shanka Chakra Siddharanam. Sahasra Shirasam Shvetam, which is actually in a white form. He has a snow white form with thousands of serpents, which is staying like behind him. So this is the whole meaning of this prayer. When you start chanting this prayer, anyone who begin this practice, you will gonna see that how your mind and body is getting tuned with your internal energies. You'll within a few seconds, you'll start getting into the focus. You'll start getting into the concentration. Very quickly, you will be onto the mode of begin your practice. So that's why when you see, it could be any aerobic activities, any gym activities, there you don't follow any kind of prayers, because there you are working on particular task, you are working on your particular muscle, your focus is on certain particular equipments. Here it is not like that. Here you are going to be focusing on an overall personality. So yoga is not only works on your physical, it works on your mental, it works on the way you express. It's all about expression. It improves the overall personality development. Next, coming back to today's topic, what we are talking here. So now you all can see that when you see any speaker or any person who talks in front of you with any of the subjects, topics, when they are coming in front of you, you can see the gesture of them. Most of them, they'll be so upright. They'll be so pleasing when they talk. Majority of the posture, irrespective of they are having any musculoskeletal disorders. I'm talking about a healthy person, how a healthy person sits. It's not only for the picture or when you express in front of, when you are speaker, it's not necessary you have to sit like this, but when you watch yourself or your children's at home, so what they will gonna do, they will gonna sit like this. The moment you come, see, if I'm sitting like this, it's my comfort zone. I can have a discussion with you. I can have a chat with you. There is absolutely nothing wrong in this. But what happens in today's scenario, if you see, if a child or if a student, if a teenager of your elderly person who is sitting like this for a maximum duration, or a software engineer, if he works like this and sits, so his spinal column has been getting compromised here. So your digestion is compromised here. And majority of your oxygen consumption is more here. You require more oxygen when you sit like this. That is the reason which many of the people are getting affected with so many internal disorders, with the health factors. If you see, some people are not able to spend their energy, lot of energy in the outside activities. The moment if they go, come back from the office, a child come back from the school, he gets tired. Why? Because of sitting like this. If you sit on a couch, this is now, especially in this pandemic, everyone has the new syndrome has called, it's couch potato couch. Everyone has become a potato couch because there is no video. You're just attending the meetings, listening to them. Okay, fine, you are at your comfort zone. But at least when you're at your office, you'll be in your formal dresses. You have someone has been visiting you, someone will be taking care of you. Even the children's, the teacher will be taking care. If they sit like this, on a disciplinary note, they have to maintain themselves like this. But when no one is observing you, automatically the spine tends to slouch like this. This is an indication of your confidence is lowering. Not only the confidence is lowering, the moment your sternum drops, your
Particularly
energy is
relevant
dropping.
point, very relevant. Only as we know, what we present to the world is a reflection of ourselves. So in that sense, when we are sitting upright, what we are communicating by way of vibes or even the effectiveness of our communication is improved. So that's a very valid point. Thank you for raising that.
Yes. I just keep observing. I have been a very good, it's been a blessing for me, I could say that always. I observe things wherever I go rather than preach or teach. I'm not here to teach anyone. I'm just here to correct. We are here to correct each other. As long as people are not making mistakes, I don't have any role to play here. Because when it comes to the why I am just more keen on tying up hands with the science, means yoga is all about science. If there is no science, I would have not got this knowledge. If everyone would have taken for granted, since the science is there, people has got that validity. They can validate. Okay, if I sit like this will gonna happen. If it's not, if I'm not maintaining at least a decent health, you are just, what you are trying to do is that you are being lessen, reducing the conditions. If it's any internal conditions, if that exists, if it requires this much of attention, at least with this, following this methods, it will be reduced to this. So you are helping your healthcare professionals, you are helping whoever is there assisting you, their work becomes easy. Their medications, whatever they'll be giving, they can starts acting fast. Even the doctors, they prescribe a few relaxing techniques when before taking them to the operation theaters, or by giving any tranquilizers, because it becomes their work easy. If the person, if the patient is panicking, it will become very difficult for them to handle the situations, because they are doing so good. Enormous energy, enormous science has been put into it. So when it comes to the children's here, so this, we call the Sanskrit is the mother of all languages. Most of them, they know that in the programming and all, this language has been used. So when you use this vocabulary, the person sees that the stammering, people who have the stammering habit from the childhood, they will be able to get away with the stammering to some extent. It depends on person to each individual to individual. So this is all about, and basically I was just telling, this posture, sitting posture makes a very, very important. Even if you sit lean back, absolutely there is no wrong, but don't slouch like this. Resting your spine to the backrest or the couch, it's not wrong, it's not a wrong posture, but you need to just relax. See that how I am sitting now. It's been very, my spine is relaxed. But not sitting always like this is also not good. Your spine requires all the 5 cultural postures. Sometimes you need to twist. Relaxing on the chair, you can twist like this. For a few seconds, it will not. So lifting every time. Now, whenever you use your mobile phones, what happens? Constantly your neck is nodded down. We never have a habit of seeing the sky. Where you're going to see the sky? Sitting at home, you never stare up. When you look up like this, whatever the tension is there in your cervical, on the neck, it will just drops down. Even for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, if you lift your head, so it will be a very good stretch your thyroid glands. And not only that, it just provides a very good blood circulation to the back of your brain. So all the scientific parameters we are trying to reach out in through this holistic approach, what we call here. When you follow this holistically, so that lot of tensions you can reduce, and you can improve your overall physical health, mental health, and also whatever the food you eat, your digestive system, your immunity will be having a robust immunity, we can say. Yeah. Now I'll just want to pass it on to Ramya. If you have any of the questions, you can just ask.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raghavendra. That was a wonderful introduction. And as you rightly said, it's about integrating the deep-rooted knowledge that's been passed on through generations with the requirements of modern day living. And yoga is a beautiful way of doing that. More and more, as even as mental health practitioners, we're recognizing and acknowledging and using yoga techniques in our day-to-day practice. We do find certainly the sense of posture, breathing, and the integration of all of those in being mindful is a perfect amalgamation, really, about when we talk about mindfulness, which is of course a very popular concept now. So that was a very good introduction. I think our we have a couple of questions. Our viewers, I'm sure, would be very interested in getting to know a bit more about how school-going children, with all their additional activities that kids are actively doing now, so they've got their curriculum and they've got their co-curricular activities, how can they make yoga an integral part of their lifestyle on a day-to-day basis? How can parents facilitate that in today's busy lifestyle, especially with nuclear families and reconfigured families on the rise?
There's one common technique out. I would like to bring it out here like this. We follow it here in India most of the time, and most of the things they know that it's called a super brain yoga in the West. They call nowadays. It is like you need to thumbs up, hold the earlobes, and you need to squat, sit and squat. So when you do the squatting for 27 rounds, we suggest them to do, or 21 rounds. Basically, on a religious practice, we used to do this. Then later on, we just understood that it just integrates, bring the coordination between the left brain and the right brain. And it brings out the lethargy in the mind very quickly. And people, for children's, they are always flexible. But for adults who are having issues with the pre-existing conditions with the back or the knee, they should do it with the supervision, because
Especially
they cannot.
busy parents who are on their,
Yes,
who
yes,
are
busy
probably working
parents.
from home and
Yes,
they're on their
yes,
chairs most of the
definitely,
time.
definitely. This I've been coming across with so many people. Like I've been reaching out to so many people very recently in a couple of months, telling that I've started getting pain in my neck. I've started getting a shooting pain in the mid back. So then when I start explaining the concepts of this posture, they quickly realize that, yes, sir, what you're telling is perfectly correct. Since we were at the office, we had privilege to stand up. I was standing like this, to having a communication with them. We used to walk, take a couple of walk steps, and we used to do all these things. In between, we used to take a couple of breaks. But after coming home, all these things have gone. This is the reason why we are getting these things. So this is one more thing I would like what the Dr. Ramya added is mindfulness. That mindfulness is needed in implementing. People are very good. There is no doubt of they are getting the good knowledge through all the sources, but try to implementation is lacking.
So taking mindful breaks during the day, so even if it's between meetings for parents or for children, um, I think it would be really, really helpful, isn't it? Wouldn't you say? Sorry, one second, just bear with me. So yes, even with children, it can be worked around their school days. What you're saying to me, and absolutely, and what you mentioned, the squatting posture, it's a perfect amalgamation of actually using your physical body. Squatting, we know, is a wonderful way of stretching in every sense, and it keeps our legs and our gluteal muscles strong, as well as provides us with an alignment, doesn't it? And really does kind of support our posture. So, in more ways than one, I think it integrates the mind and body. Very, very simple but very effective technique to practice mindfulness. Absolutely. That's wonderful.
One
We
more
have
technique I
another.
would like to give here, just
Mhm.
sorry to interrupt. So
Yes,
this is,
sorry.
it becomes very important for the parents to sit with the children to have their breakfast and the lunch, whatever the best possible timing they could spend with them. And the next thing is that when they sit with them, when they start having that quality time, you need to have that smiling or the laughing incidents with there, because as the kids grows up, what happens, they will be in their own world, because they'll be having their priorities, their exams, their assignments, all these things will be jammed up. That's where the what we call the affection and the bonding gets slightly getting delayed. It's no doubt like people spend a very good quality time, but as they grow, they need to just spend this kind of time more with them.
And
So which
perhaps
will,
even move towards having these mindful yoga breaks together.
of course, of
Um,
course.
yes, yes. That sounds certainly like a wonderful family bonding time as well, whilst we work on ourselves. There is another question that would be particularly, I think, relevant in the context of COVID, and that's about yoga and immunity. Of course, we know that traditionally, yogic methods have been used to boost immunity. How is this particularly relevant for children of today's day and age? How can parents support their children and themselves as a family to
Yes.
stay more healthy through yoga?
So I would like to suggest a couple of postures which would most of our teachers who just guiding us through the some of the traditions or these things. One thing is we need to sit straight. This is a unique posture for all of us, whether it could be an elder or anyone. When you sit, the first thing you should assure, like if you are able to squat, cross your legs and sit, it will be very, very good, like this. So hopefully you can see my legs, which has been crossed, or you can sit comfortably on the chair. And when you sit, if you have to take your hands back like this, like how you hold the elbows. So the moment you start taking your hands back like this, your sternum opens up. So your sternocleidomastoid, what we say here, this particular collarbone, it gets open up. So this, when this get open up, you can just stay wherever you possible. It's not necessary you have to hold the elbow only. Especially children will be able to do it very nicely. So when you make a habit of them to sit like this and looking up, lifting the chin, and if you are able to do this particular breathing, 10 breaths or 20 breaths, if you make it a habit, you will see a phenomenal changes in 10 days. Regularly, if you start doing this, your lungs starts opening up slowly, or wherever is possible. Just if you keep your hold hand like this also, it's be more than enough. If they're having a stiff shoulders or the frozen shoulders, their hand may not be going back. That's not an issue, but at least try. If you start holding here, after a month of practice, it will reach here. This is one technique which you can sit and explore for yourself. That is one thing. And how to reach here, this all it will take a series of postures. We'll just make them work on their different joints, being there, what where they are in their practice, which muscle is uh, blocking them, which joint has been restricting them to get into these particular postures, where what are the vertebral problems they are having in the cervical, in the lower back. Everything is connected. So seeing their posture, we will be able to guide them to achieve these postures. Otherwise, sitting on chair every day, if you're just slowly taking your hands, also a healthy person, don't take it like, for people who are having a frozen shoulder, they can't even move the hand like this. A person who is very flexible, very comfortable, without any problems in the shoulders, up till here their hand can go. But always respect your body. Do not force your body. We would always recommend that don't see the books, don't see the videos, and practice. Always, whoever the practitioner is there, whoever the well-versed teacher is there around you, take his advice, take these things, then only you practice. Otherwise, don't just dive in by saying the informations, because a lot of informations are there, but as I told you, these kind of limitations will gonna be there. Only a teacher will be able to access by seeing your condition. Otherwise, the doctors would have been told you by this time, everyone would have been taken their online consultation, they would have given exclusively. Only this pandemic situation that just made it some part we can just help them. Otherwise, no doctor will advise you sitting there. You have to visit to a practitioner to see and assess your conditions.
Yeah.
Please
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we've got time, just a quick couple of minutes for one last question, which again is particularly relevant, I think, for the South Asian community, but is rapidly becoming a global epidemic in its own in its own sense, and that is diabetes. So diabetes and more broadly other endocrinological or hormonal conditions that can potentially be supported. And one of the common questions we hear is, especially because when we're talking about children and young people, we're talking about a growing body. We're talking about changing hormones. Growth hormones are quite active. So it becomes particularly relevant, I think, as you rightly said, to make sure that you are learning properly from a well-versed teacher who's well able to support some of these changes to the body. Anything additional that you think you would like to add to this very quickly?
Yes, plenty of the researches has been carried out by the big institutions, yoga institutions, regarding the diabetes movement. It's been carried out. It's not only by doing yoga, it has to be complemented with the proper nutrition.
Yes, of course.
The food. It's food you need to
And a lifestyle,
take a
very healthy
utmost
lifestyle.
care. Lifestyles, what you just
It's a lifestyle condition.
it should be a balanced lifestyle we would like to have. Not only the lifestyle. We don't put any restrictions on that, so that you should not have this, not have that, but it should be a balanced lifestyle. It should be a guided lifestyle. Then for people who are, we could see that they are not getting into that target of audience which are prone to be diabetic. If you see, the cases are going high and high, so we can observe. So how to bring down? So these are the changes we can just bring it, not only physical, mental, and psychological. The way we present ourselves, it brings a lot of changes in us.
Wonderful. One final question. Of course, the mental health pandemic or the mental illness pandemic is well on its way to rapidly overtake cardiovascular disease as the biggest cause of morbidity now in the whole world. And COVID's really brought it up to the forefront. People are talking about it. And yes, certainly as a mental health care practitioner, I have seen the benefits of yoga in supporting one's lifestyle, complementing it in every way, and supporting mental health optimally. What are your thoughts on this? And it'd be great to get a few thoughts on it.
In today's scenario, the major concern which is addressing for the majority of the people is the anxiety. And because of anxiety and the depression, this both are hand in hand. And it's not such a easy task like when you compare to the all other diseases, all other ailments, whatever we talk, it's all interdependent because of this anxiety and depression which cause at a psychological level. This cannot be addressed over talk or these things. We can just tell them, we can guide them, like what are the steps they have to take. Definitely, as being a psychologist, you know that how much efforts the psychologist has to put on to help them to take working on their psychology. Same way, the yoga has a tremendous helping hand in this. It's been very helpful when it comes to the addressing anxiety and depression. both can works wonders. I can say people can uplift enormously with this. The whole scenario of this program, it just starts. The end, what we just I just took out the topic of anxiety and depression here. It starts with the beginning. What I started with the postures.
Mhm.
There is a lot of connectivity from there to here. So that's why I said physically, mentally, and psychologically how you work, emotionally, emotional stability, all these things will cooperate to being come out of the depression or anxiety. It's all works in hand. Nothing can be worked only individually. So this is
Indeed, and life
thanks
is
so
all
much.
about balance, and life is all about interconnectedness, whether it's our brains or whether it is our lifestyle. And that is the whole purpose, really, isn't it? Of making sure that anything we do, it works for us all in good balance. And always, I must add, under close supervision of your mental health practitioner, your doctor, or healthcare professional. So thank you very much, Mr. Raghavendra, for joining us today. And of course, today was only an introduction, a teaser really to the work that we will be doing together. Because moving forward, we will be looking to set up a series specifically for parents and for children to support from a preventative sense to see how best we can optimize our lifestyle by integrating yoga into it, and how that can in turn prevent many lifestyle conditions and day-to-day difficulties from showing up. So that's the whole purpose of what we're trying to do. And even for those who are struggling with a mental health or a physical health condition, how can a practice, discipline and discipline and informed practice like yoga, how can that become part of one's healthy lifestyle and help you optimize your wellness and productivity in every sense? So that's the whole purpose of it, and we are trying our best to achieve this for you as well, working alongside with you through the Cape family. If you have any further questions, I'm sure you would have, feel free to drop us a line. We'll be endeavoring to answer all of your questions on our CAPE website, capeforhealth.com. So feel free to email us. Our email should be showing up here. We look forward to working with you and growing together. Many thanks, all of you, for joining, and have a lovely day. Namaste. Thank you, Mr. Raghavendra. Namaste.